everybody, this is Mike with the One Stop Co-op Shop, and we're looking at one of my game designs again with my co-designer Peter. This is Dark Dealings. This was originally published by Nevermore Games, currently Greater Than Games of Spirit Island and Sentinels of the Multiverse has the official contract for it. Although I'm pretty sure if we check, it might be up, so I guess we could have the rights back if we want them. But Dark Dealings is a 1 to 6 player game, and it's actually competitive. The only competitive game we've published. We're pretty focused on solo and co-op at this point. But it does have a solo mode, and actually kind of 2 solo modes, because in the second Kickstarter we did, we updated some rules, and the old solo mode was closer to the competitive game, in that it had sort of bidding against an AI. Well, not really an AI, just a random draw. But after the game came out, we developed the second solo mode that's more deterministic, more of a puzzle, which I find solo players tend to enjoy. And our Patreon supporters did vote for this, so they wanted to see me play in the game. And like I did with Salvation Road a while back, I'm going to talk through some of the details about the game. But first, let's jump into how it's played. Then I'll give you some background and some thoughts on the game. And then we'll do a full solo playthrough. And it's a very quick game, so this whole video, I'm guessing, will not be very long. And if you like the content here on the One Stop Co-op Shop, please consider subscribing to the channel. We have some new games coming this year, so if you want to hear about them, this is a great place to do that. We also have a Patreon if you'd like to go support us and also vote on which games we play. We have a separate streaming channel, a weekly podcast, and a Discord where you can go talk to us. So lots of ways to get involved. But let's jump into Dark Dealings and show you how it's played. So there are 2 decks of cards in Dark Dealings. There are heroes, and this is a theme that was inspired by old computer games like Dungeon Keeper, where you are the bad guy and the heroes are actually your opponent coming to try to defeat you. So in the game, you have these heroes and they attack you, and you have these defenses, which have 1 or more attacks on them, 1 or more strikes. You actually rotate the card as you attack. So like this one can attack twice for 7 damage. This one can only attack once. And this value here is how much it attacks for. This is the type. There are 3 types of attacks: spells, traps, and monsters. And the heroes have a defense value, which is how much damage you have to do to defeat them, and they are vulnerable to 1 or more of the defense types. And the heroes have this little challenge rating in the bottom left corner, which shows how difficult they tend to be, and the traps similarly have a rating in the bottom right, which shows how strong they are. And in the basic competitive game, how it works is the players pass around a bunch of heroes, selecting 2 at a time, until they've each gotten 8 heroes. And the thing is, those heroes are both the heroes they'll have to fight, they'll have to defeat to try to win, but they're also the bidding currency using these challenge values they'll use to get their defenses. Because a bunch of defenses get dealt out 2 per player, and then each player secretly selects 2 of the heroes that they drafted, and these values determine the order in which they'll choose defenses. So if one player did like 49 and 16, and the other player did 9 and 12, this person, both the challenge values are lower. So you go in order. So player 1 would get to choose 2 defenses, and player 2 would be left with the crud that was left over. And once everybody's gone through their whole hero deck, they'll have 8 defenses, they'll have 8 heroes, and the player who can defeat more of their heroes with the defenses they have bought is the one who wins the game. Now, how solo works is you combine both of those. You're getting your heroes and your defenses at the same time. You deal out 5 of each, and you reorder them so that the highest challenge values are on the left. So like here we have, there we go, 48 through 3. And so that the highest ranked defenses are also on the left using this little bottom right value. And if it's a tie, you leave them where they are. And these basically become drafting pairs. I'm going to pick 2 of these sets. So if I get the Thief, I can also get this defense. If I get the Halfling, I can also get that one. Or I can choose any defense that is further to the right, less valuable. So like I could get the Halfling and that person if I really wanted him specifically. So you take the things you drafted, the defenses go in front of you, and very importantly, the order you draft the heroes becomes the reverse order of how you'll fight them. So like if I got this Thief first, that would be the last hero I would fight. The Halflings would be second to last. So you kind of build on top of it, and you can look back at your heroes whenever you want and see who you have and how your defenses kind of match up to them. And so you do that 4 times until you have 8 heroes, until you have 8 defenses, and then you do the same thing you do in the competitive game. You just fight it out and see how many you can defeat. Try to run the entire gauntlet if you can and defeat everyone for a super win. And the combat mechanics themselves are pretty straightforward. You can use each individual defense card once against a given hero, so I couldn't like keep on attacking with the same defense. You can only use defenses whose type matches one of the vulnerabilities of the hero. So here against this Berserker, I could only use my reds, and you have to do enough strikes in total to at least equal their armor. So like here I could attack for 1 with this one and 4 with that one. That would be 5. This hero would be discarded, but every hero except Rangers has a special power. In this case, the Berserker gets mad that you hit them, and they destroy the defenses that attacked them. So even though this one has 2 more strikes waiting, and this one has 1 more strike, I would have to trash both of these. That would be, by the way, a horrible turn of events for my likelihood of surviving, but that's how combat works. You just do 1 hero at a time, you rotate and strike with your defenses to try to defeat them, try to shepherd your resources to survive as long as possible. So with the basics out of the way, before we get to the quick solo play, let's talk about some of my reflections on this game, the second one that we ever had published. So first of all, we got to work with Rob Lundy on the art, and I was always a really big fan of the sort of chibi-ish, although not quite, like big-headed art that he came up with. I really think it's fun. And for the traps and monsters as well, yes, there's a lot of duplicated art, but I just think it's pretty entertaining. And I also think we did a really good job on the basic combat mechanic of attacking with these things. It's very simple, but it has some nice implications with the different vulnerabilities of heroes and that kind of stuff. And this was actually the first part of the design that we got right. I was designing it as a space station defense game with 3 different types of like sci-fi attacks, and the heroes were like enemy ships coming to attack your space station. So there was no bidding at that point, there was no drafting, but the combat mechanics I pretty much got nailed down very early. Now at some point we decided that fantasy would be a better theme for it, would sell better, which is unfortunately still the case in the industry. And at that point the bidding came in and we were very much influenced by For Sale, which like this game has kind of 2 sets of play. First, you're bidding to try to get these properties, these housing cards, and then in the second phase, you use those cards to bid on these checks, basically selling your houses. So the idea that you first get your heroes in one way and then use those hero cards to get something else really came straight from that influence of For Sale. And initially, the game was a lot more like For Sale in that you had a pile of money that you were basically using to buy the defenses. And this is how the game was for quite a while until we took it to the Unpublished Game Convention. And unfortunately, I forget who it was, but we were playing with a couple of people, and they were like, hey, I mean, if you're doing For Sale, why don't you really do For Sale, and why don't you make the heroes the ones who get you the defenses? Which I think was probably the most revolutionary change for the game, because the idea that you are trying to get higher value heroes, which are more likely to kill you, tougher to defeat, and that will also let you get better defenses, so you're kind of digging your own grave. I think that's one of the most fun kind of aspects of the design. So huge thank you. I wish I remembered who it was. Met so many people over the years, but huge thank you to those testers who gave the idea to switch it up, because I think it really made the game work. Now, what didn't make the game work? It was a very successful Kickstarter, and the second Kickstarter did well also, but the game got sometimes middling reviews. Rahdo refused to cover it, and it really comes down to 2 mistakes that we fixed in the second printing, but we were very inexperienced designers, so we didn't fix it earlier. And the first thing we changed in the second printing that was definitely a mistake the first time around is that there was a memory aspect to the game. After you use heroes to buy the defenses, they would go face down and you weren't allowed to look at them. So you had to like remember, oh my gosh, was that thief coming at card 6? Was that vulnerable to red or to blue? Oh, did he have a 5 or a 6? And that's still an optional variant in the hardcore mode of the second printing, but there were so many players who were just put off by that. They didn't like the memory aspect. I don't think memory mechanics are really popular in board games in general. So now we just let you look freely, but you can't change the order. So it's still the same like basic mechanics. We just take away that barrier to entry. And the second thing kind of related is that the game had player elimination. In the original competitive rules, the second you could not defeat a hero, you were out. And again, that's still in the hardcore variant, but now we just make it that you keep on going and you just see who can defeat more heroes instead of like you having bad luck. I mean, some players would flip the wrong hero on their very first turn because they weren't planning well or they got stuck with somebody at the end and they couldn't defeat him. And that's just like a completely anti-fun way to do things, you know, looking back as a more experienced designer now. So yeah, those are the 2 big regrets. The game still did well, it sold well, but we definitely think it would have been more universally accepted and liked if we didn't have the memory aspect or the player elimination aspect, which are now, again, just variants you can play with if you really want to make the game more punishing. But that's some background and thoughts on Dark Dealing. Still one I really enjoy playing. I still like this design. Let's jump into a full solo session and see if I still have what it takes to survive. All right, here we go, my first set of cards, and let's talk you through the hero powers that are up. We've got 3 Rangers, that's a ton of Rangers. They are the only ones without a special power, but they have the highest defense for their relative cost. Wizards, on the other hand, have the lowest power in the game, but the second you reveal them from your hero pile, you flip them over, they just blow up with a fireball one of your defenses, so they can really run you out of cards quickly. And Knights have the highest armor of anybody in the game, even higher than Rangers, but they have a benefit for you in that you can use defenses more than once. Usually you can only strike with a given defense once against a given hero, but with them, like this single one, if the vulnerability match could like do all, 9 damage to the Knight and defeat him in one go. As for the defenses here, I've got a couple of 1 attack ones with 3 strikes, which actually isn't that bad, even though they're 1 value, because they give you a lot of utility over the course of many fights. I've got a wild magic book here, so I can strike for 3 damage twice, choosing whichever type I want for each of those. I've got this one that increases in strike strength, so it starts at 1, becomes 3, becomes 5, so you want to kind of pay it forward and use it often. And then finally, I've got a really powerful double 5 defense, but that would mean taking the Wizard. And I also want to look at their vulnerabilities. This Ranger is only vulnerable to magic, and all I have is a terrible magic. But of course, she would be the last one I would fight, so I could try to get some magic later. And this Ranger is vulnerable to 2 things, but such a high shield value. Whereas this guy's kind of a chump, and I don't really mind getting like the 1/1/1. So I think I'm going to get the Ranger vulnerable only to magic. I'll have her be my final hero, so we'll have to remember to get that. And I got this defense. And then, double 3 wild can almost take out that Ranger all by itself. So yeah, we'll go for this. I'm just a little bit scared of Wizards, especially early on. If I get some crap card that is not as bad. So yeah, there we go. And all the rest of it is discarded. And we do that 3 more times. We've got some more heroes. Berserkers you already saw. Any defense that strikes them is thrown away as trash, even if it had strikes remaining. And we got 2 Thieves. Thieves you have to hit with the exact value. So a 4, for example, would not defeat this Thief. A 5 would not defeat this guy. I would have to get my defenses to exactly 3. And that could come from 1 defense or a couple striking together. Now, a 3 Thief is not a big deal with me having a double 3 Wild. Oh, and this, by the way, is the best defense in the base game. There was an expansion with more heroes and more defenses, but this one strikes for 4, and each time the type changes. So it's a ton of attack power, but you have to work to make the types match up. And yeah, Knight that can only be hit by magic. I already have a Ranger that can only be hit by magic, so I don't want to pigeonhole myself too much. So I think I'm not going to do that. This 5 Wild can almost kill the Berserker by itself. Or we could go for the Wizard. I'm really not scared of these 3s, again, with my Wild sitting out there. Although, that's another red only. It'll be fine, right? It'll be fine. So I'll take I want the Wizard, I guess, later, so I can rotate like some cruddy defenses and save them for him, and then I'll put the Thief above him. And I get a 5 monster and a 4 trap. So decent strengths, although they each only have 1 strike. Oh, wow, would you look at this. Even though this solo version is a little bit less luck dependent than the original one, you do get some swings sometimes. So look, I've got 6, 5, 5, 5, 3. These are incredibly powerful defenses, like no bad ones here. But I also got, that's the toughest and the second toughest hero in the game. But yeah, there's a big mismatch like right here. This Knight would be pretty easy to take out. Now, this defense, by the way, it hits for 7, but the little asterisk means to attack with this, you have to rotate another defense, which makes like those 1 strike defenses with 3 strikes super valuable. Or something like this little red 2. I could use that to kind of feed this 7. 7 would crush the Knight. And ooh, I've got a 4 trap just kind of made for that Berserker. So yeah, I think with these defenses being so good, I'm going to take the weakest heroes and kind of benefit from the mismatch there. So I think I want the Berserker later, lower in my pile because he breaks stuff, and we'll have the Knight, and then we got both of these. Although I'm realizing I still don't have the reds I need to take out that Ranger. I'm kind of light on reds in general. Let's see if some reds come out at the end. All right, and speaking of needing red, I'm not going to have much, am I? So we see our last hero type here. These are halflings. You have to defeat them twice. So it's good when you have a bunch of weaker defenses. So these halflings I'd have to hit for 2 damage and then again for 2 damage, and I couldn't use the same defense. So with me only having like this 1 red and almost no greens, although I guess I'll get a green maybe. Well, and this Berserker is pretty easy to defeat. And I've been basically playing on hardcore mode. Okay, so that Ranger and that Wizard both need only reds. What am I doing to myself? Oh, man. All right, yeah, I think I'm going to get the halflings and the Berserker. Or should I get both Berserkers? I definitely have the stuff to defeat both of them. Yeah, you know what? I think this this shouldn't be too bad. So we'll go with double Berserkers and a lot of stuff just getting trashed, but I have a lot of one-off defenses anyway, so I think it'll be okay. All right, here you go. Here's my full collection of defenses. Gosh, I have too many traps. Like, this was a poor decision. Although it's good for this one. The asterisk says for each other card in my defenses with the trap type, it gets +1. So this right now is actually a 6 instead of a 3, which is certainly better. And let's just be surprised and see what happens. So our first one, we're going, remember, in the opposite order that we got them. We've got a Berserker that needs 4 magic or monster. Well, that's not even really a question. We're going to go ahead and use monster because we're certainly not going to waste our magic and our wild. So there's a 5 attack, more than enough for the 4. She is vulnerable to monsters, and it's trashed, although it would have been anyway because it only had a single strike. Bye-bye, Berserker. All right, 1 out of 8. We got another Berserker, vulnerable to everything but 5 defense. So I think the obvious choice here is going to be our boosted trap. That'll do 6 with the bonus of the other traps, more than the 5, although we could have equaled it. He is defeated as well. So 6 defenses, 6 heroes left. We got a knight only vulnerable to magic and traps. So I could defeat him straight up with the 7. I think that's the way to go, although maybe I want to rotate this. Well, let's do this. I'm going to do that, so that'll do 7 damage. I have to rotate another defense for no effect. Let's actually rotate my 1 trap to get it toward its stronger sides, not touch my magic yet, and defeat that knight. 7 damage is equal to or greater than his defense. So there we go. Now we're ahead. We've got 6 defenses and 5 people left. Ooh, another Berserker needs a 4 of any type. I think my little 4 trap here was just made for that bad boy. Get out of here. And we're still alive. We're still alive. All right, and here's a thief. He's exactly a 3. Can only come from magic or monsters. So I can't use the 3 trap, sadly. She's not vulnerable. I can either use my wild or this 3 monster. So the 5 ranger, the only way I survive that is with 2 magic and the wild. So I could use the wild once, but I need 3 magic to kill this wizard, which will also require the wild. So I can't use this to hit the thief. I can't use it to hit the thief. Oh God, I'm so dead. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and use this guy to take care of the thief. And wizard, he immediately blows something up, and the thing is, these like trap defenses are worthless. I don't think anybody's vulnerable to traps anymore. Yeah, so he'll blow that up, and I'll use one of the wilds, take him out with his 3 defense because he's only vulnerable to magic, but wilds can be whatever you want. And here's one that's going to kill me. I was all worried about the 5 ranger. I forgot the 7 ranger, not vulnerable to traps. So the best I could do would be 5 damage, but we're not playing on hardcore, so we'll just say 1 hero got through into my lair. Darn it. And then the final ranger, 2 magic, 3 wild, hit her for 5 magic. She's done, but yeah, 1 hero got through, and I still had a red left and some traps left, but just not the right types. Clearly recording and discussing at the same time. I wasn't paying as much attention as I should have been. But there you go, that's Dark Dealings, our second published design, and sadly, even though I think Greater Than Games might have some copies somewhere, like in a warehouse, I don't know. We have not heard any news from them. We might get the rights back and maybe pursue publishing ourselves if some games that we're going to try to publish later on in the year. If those go well, we might look back at some of our old designs and improving them. But hey, if you can find a copy somewhere, feel free to play it. I'm still pretty proud of this one. I think it's a lot of fun. That was Dark Dealings, the second edition, the second printing's solo mode. Again, the first printing solo is a little bit different, but still pretty enjoyable. And yeah, kind of like Salvation Road, let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think it's weird for me to talk about our own designs and kind of show them, flaws and warts and all? Or do you enjoy this kind of thing? Just let me know what you think. Good gaming, everyone, and I'll see you at the next stop.